Well, a very good morning. Welcome once again. If you have just tuned in, this is your feel-good start to a Throwback Thursday. Now, we have the duty of kicking it off this morning with something that could be quite controversial, yes, but I think that is going to be quite groundbreaking as well. We're talking about a magazine in Austria that has very controversially printed an issue of its magazine using the blood from HIV-positive people to print its latest issue. Now, the Vanguardist magazine in Austria took blood donations from 3 HIV-positive people, then mixed it with ink, then used it to print the pages of its May edition. Now, the publication, I think, is hoping that the hashtag HIV Heroes edition will challenge the taboos that obviously still surround HIV and end stigma for those living with the virus. The message is that you hold the magazine in your hands. It is no different from holding someone that is HIV positive. Nothing can happen to you, nothing can harm you holding the magazine, and nothing can harm you holding an HIV-positive person. Now, the hashtag HIV Heroes issue went on sale at the start of this month with 2,500 limited edition copies printed using the blood. Now, joining us on the line, someone who I'm hoping will have a rather interesting reaction to this. Marcus Lowe, Head of Policy of the Treatment Action Campaign. Marcus, first of all, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Graham.
Marcus, when I first broached this story, obviously a very controversial reaction, yes, you do expect, but something that is very clever. Do you think this is going to have the right kind of effect? Do you think it's going to have the mark that they hope that it will?
Well, I think anything that gets people talking about this is useful. And what I like about the way that they're doing it is that it teaches us something about how infectious HIV is. And the truth is that HIV is really very weak at surviving outside of the human body. And as is the case with this magazine, the risk of contracting HIV is zero through this blood that's mixed with ink. So it's got a nice little story, and I think it gets people talking, which is what we need.
Maybe 10 years ago, we know that there was such a concerted, such a big marketing drive. There was a lot of CSI spend going into the battle against the stigma attached to HIV and AIDS. Are we finding that that battle is being won? Is there still a massive stigma here in South Africa surrounding the virus?
I think it's hard to know what the exact extent is. There's a big study happening right now that's trying to track exactly what's happening. But the feeling is really that we have made a lot of progress. We now have politicians who speak openly about it. We're past the days of AIDS denialism and all the misinformation. And I think people generally tend now to have an idea of how HIV works, how it's spread, how it's treated. Now, obviously, we still come across cases of discrimination, which is often fueled by a misunderstanding of how it works. So there's still work to be done, and there are some employers who still think it's problematic to employ someone with HIV. So we still come across these things, and it's important to keep fighting that.
We know on a larger scale what's being done, and ideas like this really do go a great way length to inspire us to do something more as individuals. What, in your mind, can we as individuals, not necessarily as politicians or companies, but just as normal South Africans do to fight the stigma?
I think, what we always say is the most important thing is to learn about HIV. And take some time, read up a bit on the internet or, wherever. And just brush up on how the science works, how transmission works, and understand what the realities are, because it's often fear of the unknown that drives stigma and fear and this kind of thing.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your insight this morning. I know, well, this is a fantastic initiative. You guys do this work every day, so we really do appreciate your efforts, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Well, for more details on the Treatment Action Campaign and to get involved in the fight against the HIV and AIDS and the stigma attached to that, visit their website, tac.org.za. Well, time to take a healthy turn now as our fitness segment kicks off with some very interesting looking tools there. I'm not quite understanding what you're going to be working out with those.